Hey guys, so apparently the power company PG&E has been putting smart meters into people's houses without their consent. In fact, it was shared on Facebook that there is, I think, a few women that have been arrested because they have, at least verbally, came against the police and the power company trying to do this, or not trying to, actually doing it. The reason that they say that, well, at least this one lady was arrested, was because she was eavesdropping on police thing. Guess what? You can do that with a regular scanner that you buy at Radio Shack. It's called frequency. You can listen to that all day long. Is that illegal? Better not say anything. They might make it illegal. Thankfully, I live in a state that is a single-party consent. So it don't matter if it's the police or anybody like that. If they're standing in front of you and you have the full right to video record them. In fact, the Supreme Court stated that you could record the police. So I'm not exactly sure where the legality lies in that. But anyway, simple fact is that the power company's authority to go on your property is limited, especially if you own it. Now, if you rent it, it's limited. I mean, if the landlord approves it, then I think they've got to give you the same 24-hour notice as, you know, if they themselves intend to come to your apartment. But as far as legally, the only thing that the power company has the right to do legally is to come on your property and retrieve that they own. So if you have a meter that is installed on your home, that the power company, you've got a contract with the power company that they monitor and provide you with power, and it's a way to bill you, keep track of the power that you use. They have the authority to come to your home and remove that meter. That's retrieval of personal property, or you know, yeah, I mean, it's private property. But where the line is drawn in installing a new piece of private property onto your private property that you do not authorize them to do. These people aren't saying, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but this is the only okay, apparently in Naipierville they have got a thing passed that says that you can that they provide the power to the residents. The city of Naipierville provides residents with power. So again, they could come and remove the meter, but it is illegal for them to put the new meter on without your consent. The only thing they can do legally, and I'm not a lawyer, but I would challenge any lawyer to tell me differently, is they can say, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but this is the way that the city decided to go, and you know, if you do not decide to have the meter put on, we understand, but simple fact is we can't you know, we can't leave the old one. So in fact, you'll be without power. and then it falls on the owner to, you know, make that decision whether or not they want to receive the smart meter or not. But when they are trying to install that private property against the private property owner's will, that is trespass, and the police should not be enforcing that trespass. That should be unconstitutional, because they might have a warrant to come on and retrieve your property, or retrieve their property, but they certainly don't have the warrant to come on your property and install something that is not approved by you. It's just, again, I would challenge any lawyer to tell me differently. Sounds like they have got a civil rights case. It seems like that is a Fourth Amendment issue. It definitely sounds like a false arrest issue. I think attorneys ought to be lining up. I know not all of them are snakes. They ought to be lining up, the good ones anyway, ought to be lining up to defend these ladies, and they ought to be lining up to create a lawsuit against PG&E and the city of Naipierville for going against the Constitution of the United States. That should be. I know that there's police officers out there that are and military that are trying to cover their ass. I know this. You've got a job to do. You're trying to protect your job. But the fact of the matter is, there comes a time when you must take the stance. What is right, and what is wrong, and I will not do anything against the oath I took. As a police officer, you take the oath that you will uphold the Constitution. To go on to someone's property without a warrant, to arrest somebody falsely, those things are against the Constitution. In fact, recording somebody falls under the First Amendment. It's not extended to just the press. You can record. You don't have to have. I don't know. That's backwards in freaking Chicago. I mean Illinois, freaking blue state. But nonetheless, I don't think that changes the Constitution. And as the Supreme Court has ruled, it is legal to record police in action, especially when it comes to dealing with you. When they're having stuff to do with you. It's just, there ought to be constitutional lawyers lining up around their block to try to get them under contract to do a lawsuit. I mean, this is freaking ridiculous. Frankly, and I don't condone any kind of illegal activity, and I'm not telling them to do a single thing, but I think this might be a opportunity for Anonymous to step in and show PG&E that it may not be the smartest thing in the world to do to use these meters that transmit over radio frequency. As the PG&E meters are run strictly, the data is transmitted via radio waves, which is why it's a carcinogen. Seems like it might be a that the right anonymous people might have a solution as to a way to not convince, but inform PG&E that, or the city of Naipierville, that it is very it's not the smartest idea, that the system is fallible, that it's not that they can't provide the safeguards that would be required to secure the information being transmitted. I don't know. If it was hacked, could they turn them off? They say they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Are they able to be shut down by code? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking a question. So if the lawyers don't want to do anything, and the the legal system don't want to step up and do what it's supposed to do in this situation, hey, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to convince them that they need to go the way of the Constitution on this matter. So there you have it. So hey, maybe a mass exodus of Naipierville, Illinois is in order. Just, hey, there's absolutely plenty of foreclosures that are being all across the country. Contrary to what the president says, this economy is not in the best shape in the world. It's not recovering as quickly as he is propagandizing it to be. So hey, there's probably plenty of banks that are willing to completely get rid of these houses on the cheap. My nephew bought a house a little over about 1,200 square feet, I think, with an acre of land for $43,000. That's in an area where it's considerably higher. So to all the Naipierville residents that might be listening, I know you wouldn't want to leave your job, probably your family and everything like that, but at some point somebody's going to have to take a stand against unconstitutional laws, and we ain't got time for the Supreme Court to get to it 4 and 5 years from now. The lady that was arrested had a daughter with health issues that could be exacerbated by the PG&E smart meters, and they didn't give a rat's ass one way or the other. They said too bad. So hey, it might be time for exodus. Leave Naipierville a ghost town. To heck with it. If they want to poison you, if they would rather go against your constitutional rights, is that a city you really want to live in? I mean, honestly, is it a city that you really want to be associated with? You might find something in a surrounding county that your commute to work might not be affected that much. And if you can, I mean, Naipierville, you got a big up yours from me. That's just, and to the officer that arrested those people, you have no respect for me from me. That was a move that was unnecessary at the least, unconstitutional at the worst. And the same goes for, and this is something else. I know, like I say, there's a lot of CYA going on. But at what point are you going to say there's 5 lights? I'm not a videographer, or I would put a clip in. I would create a video where in a episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Captain Picard has been captured by the Romulans, I believe it is, and he has been held hostage, and he is before a council where he's being tortured, and all he has to do is say that he sees 5 lights and there's only 4, or 4 lights and there's only 5, whichever way it was. All he had to do was say, I see the number of lights that they said they wanted to hear him say. If he said it, they would let him go. But if he wouldn't, they tortured him. That is exactly what is happening. This is coercion. If you do what we want you to do, we'll leave you in peace. If you go against us, if you don't do what we tell you to do, if you don't do what we would like you to do, we will make your life a living hell. That's exactly the same thing that apparently Gene Roddenberry had a freaking... He knew what was coming, which I think he was an Illuminist, so he already knew what was coming anyway. If you'll notice, most of your Star Trek's social issues are ahead of their time. Stuff that we're seeing now that was put in the 60s, 50s, or 60s during the time that Star Trek was being filmed. So anyway, it's time for policemen, military, and the like to stand up for the Constitution of the United States and say I refuse to do anything, and take the consequences. It's more honorable to do the right thing and take the consequences as it is to keep silent and let evil prevail, and no consequences come of it immediately to yourself. Case in point, oftentimes, especially on videos, you will hear someone ask a Marine point blank, if you were ordered to do something that was unconstitutional, would you do it? And the resounding response from every single one that I have heard is, when the Marines gets ordered to do something, they get the job done. That might sound good, and I know you're covering your ass, but it's a mentality that begins to sink in. That's where the problem lies. You might not carry out an order that was unconstitutional, but if you say it enough, makes it a hell of a lot easier to do it. Your orders, the men that give you orders, are under the authority of the United States Constitution. Anything that goes against that Constitution, not the President, not the commanding officer, not the Chief of Staff, none of those give you the power to order you, or they can order you as much as they want to, but the power to compel you to do something is in the United States Constitution. Outside of the Constitution of the United States, your superior officers in giving commands have no grounds. They have no enforcement ability. They have no enforcement right. They cannot bring you up on charges. If they do, you can go into court and bury them, and you should, because I love our military. I'm not military, but I would pick up a M16 and I would fight right beside you in a time of defending the homeland. But let me tell you this: if you would willingly usurp the Constitution of the United States, I have no respect for you. If you would willingly follow an order that goes against the Constitution of the United States that you were sworn to defend from enemies foreign and domestic, then you have abandoned your oath, and it's a disgrace to the uniform. That hurts to say, because I know many of you out there, if you're hearing this, that's a major insult. That's the most insult that you can get, that you're a disgrace to the uniform. But if you would violate your oath of office that you took to follow a command, that is going against the very reason that you signed up to protect and defend. And you're not deserving of respect. So at some point, our Marines, that's why I love the Promise Keepers, or Oath Keepers. I love the Oath Keepers, because they say, we will not fire upon you. We will not put you in a concentration camp. We will not aid an enemy in rounding you up. We will not aid a government agency in taking away your weapons. We will not do this and we will not do that, all under the authority of the Constitution. God bless y'all. I love you. All this unconstitutional BS is just under my skin. So, okay, I've got that off my chest. Hope I've stirred the pudding a little bit. But to those women in Naipierville, you're examples to us all. God bless you. You're not a criminal. You don't deserve jail. And I hope that y'all sue the ever-living snot out of Naipierville. I hope you run the mayor off the bench. God bless.